We go. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Michelle, and I'm so excited to have Representative Mary Beth Canty of the Illinois 54th District with us today as part of our Women's Equality Day series. And the whole point of this thing is to have conversations with women leaders, trailblazers about equality and participation, why it matters, and also like how we can do it. So I want to say a bit about Women's Equality Day before we get started, because it's commemorated in the US on August 26th in marking the certification of the 19th Amendment, which gave some women the right to vote. Not all women, right? That took a little bit longer. So I think it's critical for us to remember, though, the hard work that these women and their allies put in, starting in 1848 with the Seneca Falls Convention, opened by Frederick Douglass, by the way, who understood a thing or two about oppression, to 1920 with the 19th Amendment, to 1965 in the Voting Rights Act, when all women, specifically Black women in the South, got the right to vote, and today, right? Still today. And what their activism looked like was marching. They organized a parade on Woodrow Wilson's inauguration day and marched down the streets of Washington, D.C.
Yep.
They did that. They picketed outside the White House with signs. And when the administration got so tired because they thought they were going to go away sooner than they
Yep.
did, they arrested them
Yep.
for obstruction of traffic. And when the women refused to pay the fine and plead guilty, they were thrown in jail.
Yep.
And then when they were in jail, some of them went on hunger strikes. And when they went on hunger strikes, the federal government then, right, force fed them in prison. It just reminds me so much that our rights are not given,
Correct.
right? And that we cannot forget how we got here. And so, one of who I think is one of our strongest advocates in Illinois is Representative Mary Beth Canty. So, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. You are amazing and an inspiration. So I'm honored to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, please tell us a little bit about you, um, why you decided to run, right? And the good work that you're doing in the 54th.
So I'm a kid from the Navy, from Virginia. We've traveled around a lot and made our way to Illinois in 2008. So I've been here for a little bit now. This is the longest time I've lived anywhere in my whole life. I love it here.
Mhm.
I'm married. I've got two kids. I live in Arlington Heights, and I represent only the northwest suburbs. So Palatine, Arlington Heights, Prospect Heights, Buffalo Grove, Wheeling, and Mount Prospect. So I have a little bit different perspective on how I see the state, and being a non-insider, that also colors a little bit of what I see. I don't bring a lot of that ingrained, we must do it this way history with me. I bring a spirit of, oh, well, where I used to live, we did this other thing. And,
Mhm.
could we try that here? Or haven't we tried that here? And so you learn a little bit and give and take. But I got into politics actually because all politics are local.
Yeah.
So, my family has always given back. Like I said, my dad was in the Navy for 24 years, and he has always done philanthropy, both when he was in the service and ever since. My mom has always done a lot of philanthropy and giving back to others. And for me, this was the way that I felt I could give back. I'm a pretty bold speaker, and I have a really firm sense of justice and for saying the things that need to be said, even when those might be scary or some people might not like it. And I know not everybody has that luxury or that comfort level. So I felt this is what I can do
Mhm.
for my communities. I can be the voice for them. I can listen to them, and then I can share their concerns. And for me, it started mostly with affordable housing. In Arlington Heights, I had noticed that developers were buying the affordable housing, and then they would tear it down and build big, beautiful homes, but those homes were so much more expensive. And I thought, if I, as a lawyer with a husband who is a PhD chemist, if I feel like we are nervous and being priced out of our community, what is it like for people who are trying to get into our community? What is it like for people who are trying to stay in our community, especially, those on fixed incomes or our seniors, et cetera? So I felt like we can do a little bit more. So I became a trustee. I worked on affordable housing issues. I am really proud of the affordable housing, inclusionary housing ordinance that we passed. And then in 2022, I was lucky enough to be elected to the state legislature. And the bills that I worked on, especially, in my first 2 years, were really geared towards helping my communities and other communities across the state. That's important to me, that anything we do at the state level has to be good for people across the state. So I worked on full day kindergarten and making sure that every family has access to full day kindergarten because I knew that was a thing that was keeping women out of the workplace, right? Is not having access to full day schooling for their kids. And then I also worked on a pay transparency bill because we know that particularly for women, particularly for people of color, they get harmed in the workplace by not knowing the value of a job when they apply. And so this is a law. It went into effect earlier this year, January 1st. I'm pretty proud of it.
Nice.
But it requires employers of a certain size, if they make a public job posting, think LinkedIn, Indeed, their website, they have to tell you what that job is worth at the time that they post it. And one of the things I'm proud of is that we were able to negotiate a bit of teeth into it. So there are penalties if you are found to be in violation of the requirements. And I think that's going to bring some parity to our wage system. I think it's also going to be good for not just employees, but employers, right? Because there is a lot of money that goes into the hiring process, and it can be really tough if you make an offer to somebody and that's the first they're hearing about what the job is going to pay. And
Mhm.
then they ghost you at the end of it. So I think by being more open and transparent about what the value of work is, we can make our system better for everybody.
Yes, and everything that you're talking about just connects so well with the whole concept of Women's Equality Day and what it started off, right?
Yeah.
What it kicked off in so many ways. So I'm really curious about what about Women's Equality Day is still relevant right now in 2025?
All of it. I think
I
all
mean,
of
I
it
agree.
is,
So like,
I think all of it
yeah.
is still relevant, right? We see in so many spaces where women are still not treated as equals, right? We are still fighting every day for the right to control our own bodies. We are having to fight every day for our rights in the workplace, right? To be free from harassment, to get the promotions that we rightly deserve, to be paid what we are worth. And we still hear the normalization of trying to take away voting rights from women, right? We heard just this week a thing that is gaining traction in some subsets of the US where they think we should go back to one household, one vote, and that vote being controlled by the man. I mean, Women's Equality Day is just as important today as it was in 1848 or 1919 or 1965. It is so important and critical at literally all levels.
Yeah, I obviously completely agree. And I that's why I'm so glad you're here to talk with us about how you see it too, right? So, what can ordinary citizens, we're all ordinary citizens, but
Yeah.
what can we do to get involved in a meaningful way in 2025 when, let's be honest, people are freaked out, people
Yep.
are feeling intimidated. Um, they don't know what's going to happen if they get
Yep.
involved, and they don't even really know what involvement could look like. So,
Yeah.
how can we get involved?
I love this question all the time, right? And one of my favorite political people in the state of Illinois is Juliana Stratton, and she talks a lot about self-care Sundays, right? And self-care doesn't mean, just go get a manicure or something like that. It's really remembering to take care of yourself. Because if you are not rested, if you are not well, if you are unhealthy, you cannot take care of others, right? And we need everybody to be taking care of others. So, first and foremost,
Mhm.
take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Hydrate, sleep, take a break when you need to take a
Love it.
break, do the things that matter, take care of your family. But then, once you know that you are a whole being and that you are taken care of, start thinking about how much time do you have? Some people have more time than others, right? Maybe they're retired, maybe they, work from home or they're stay-at-home parents, and so they have a little bit more flexibility and freedom in their calendar, right?
Mhm.
But some people don't.
Right.
They are working outside the home. Maybe they're working two jobs or they're taking care of an aging parent or children or whatever, right? Look at how much time you have and then think of how you could best use some of that time. It might be calling your legislators to voice an opinion on a piece of legislation, both in favor and against a piece of legislation. That might be all you have time for in any given day, right? And
Mhm.
that's good. We need
Yeah.
people to do that. Right now, we are in petition season,
Mhm.
right? If you have friends that live in your community, one thing you could do is reach out to a local candidate that you support and say, hey, I can get you 20 signatures from my neighborhood friends or from the parents that I see at pickup
Mhm.
or the parents that I know at the soccer team, right? 20 signatures doesn't sound like a lot, but it's huge.
Yeah.
Candidates need anywhere from 400 signatures to 10,000. So you getting 20 can make a huge,
Yeah.
huge, huge difference without taking a ton of time out of your day. So it's really about measuring how much time do you
Mhm.
have and where can you best aim it? And if you need help, I would say reach out to your local electeds, local candidates that you believe in, that you support,
Mhm.
because they will find a way to make good use of your time, even if all you have is 20 minutes.
Yep. So we don't have to go fight with people
You
to,
do not.
yeah.
That is never my goal. And I say this all the
Right.
time when people knock doors for me because we do. We need people that can go door
Mhm.
to door. And I always say, when you're going door to door for me or for anybody else, your goal is not to argue. Your goal is not to be a salesperson, right? The
Mhm.
most that you need to do is, if it's right in the conversation, say why you're willing to give up an hour on your Saturday to go
Mhm.
knock doors for someone else. Say why you believe in that person. And if you get questions that you don't know how to answer about that candidate, redirect, right? Say, I don't know the answer to that, but that's a really great question. And I know that candidate would be happy to answer it for you. Here is their website. And
Mhm.
send them right over that way. It is not your job as a volunteer to argue or convince
Right.
or be a salesperson. And I think that's the misnomer that we expect everybody to go out and really
Yeah.
know every policy
Right.
issue inch by inch or to
Mhm.
fight with people. I don't ever want you to do that. I
Mhm.
want you to leave with a smile on your face. And if someone says, you know what, I'm not interested, my answer always, and I think my volunteers do the same thing, is that's okay. Have a great day. Thank you for your time. And
Mhm.
then keep it moving.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
Yeah. So we can be kind and human centered in our
Yes.
activism, right? Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Always.
Right. So, final word, what is some encouragement or inspiration you might have for, leaders today, specifically women leaders? I just want to put that out, and have that be like a final focus.
So I was lucky enough to be part of the Edgar Fellows program this year. And our keynote speaker was a gentleman who wrote the most recent biography of Martin Luther King, and it's called King, A Life. But he told this really powerful story of the last few minutes of Martin Luther King's life. And we
Mhm.
all know that women were really the backbone
Yep.
of the civil rights movement and sort of pushed Martin Luther King out to the front. But in his last few minutes, when he was out on the railing of the hotel, someone said to him, Martin, it's getting kind of cold. You should think about going to get a jacket. And King's last words were, "Okay, I will," as he turned to go get a jacket. And to me, that is so powerful. And I think that's what
Mhm.
we need to remember. Okay, I will,
Mhm.
right? That is a powerful, powerful statement that you have control over your life and that you need to take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. And we know that it ended tragically for Martin Luther King and for all of us in that moment. But I think that spirit, knowing that those were his final words, or thinking about himself so that he could be there for others, are so powerful. Honestly, I debated getting them tattooed
Mhm.
on my wrist. Okay, I will.
Wow, that is powerful. Yes, and we often think we have to just wear ourselves out. And I love what you're saying. We have got to take care of ourselves, and
Yes,
then we can go out and be in the world
Yes.
Hmm.
You can't help others unless you are also well. So
Yes.
the goal is not to burn yourself out. Do not burn yourself out.
Yep.
Do what you can when you can do it. And also remember to hydrate.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. And everyone
Thank
who's
you so
watching,
much.
please keep an eye on the rest of the series. We've got some more folks coming up. And thank you so much for giving us your time today, Representative
Happy
Canty.
to do it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we'll talk with you soon. Thank you.
Yes, we will. Bye.